Well, thanks very much. I want to thank, first of all, Eric for inviting me to present to you about our initiative here. Along with, can people hear me okay, by the way, without having to go to the microphone? Okay. No, okay. Okay, I'll try and speak a little bit louder. So along with me here is my my boss, Maurice Gallant, a number of you are familiar with, and he was really the champion behind us going in this initiative. So while the secret's out, we're into open data, we haven't really done any marketing of this, and here we are in front of this group. We've already been discovered by Eric, and we've been discovered by a number of other people who've contacted us through the Open Data Contact on our website. And so I'm really pleased to be here to let you know some of what got us to this point, a little bit about what open data is. So I think a number of you already are familiar with that, and how we're looking at implementing open data right now. And maybe if we can get some discussion also going as to possibilities going in the future. So open data is, well, it's really a philosophy. It's not just it's not technology, it's not a web browser. It's the practice of getting the data, making it available easily to everybody, opening it up for free and unencumbered use of the information. For municipalities, it's improving, obviously, service, and to show that we're open, transparent, and that we're striving to enhance the community. But there are issues with this as well. What data do we provide out there? We can't, there's the obvious restrictions of privacy matters. We can't put anything where there's privacy rules that prevent it. What data are our own departments and people prepared to also release and open up, because we have to work with them as well. And what data do the users want? Because we can assume what might be really cool data and what might be of great use, but sometimes we need that feedback from the user community to decide what information can be put up there, because we may have it, we just haven't thought of putting it up there. Or we might not have it, but it wouldn't take a lot of effort to get it up there. So we want that feedback, that two-way communications with the end users out there. Another issue is the apps plus mashup. So when these applications get developed by the community out there and mashups, what impact is that on us? Because we're not the developers of it. Is it seen that we're in any way involved in that effort, and therefore problems that may arise from that? Resources. We don't have a lot of resources right now. We have to make use of our existing resources and get the people encouraged within our own departments and that to also participate in the Open Data Initiative. Who are the data owners, or who owns the data? Because when we talk about our data set that we use at the city, it can actually be data that comes from other jurisdictions and other levels of government. So we have to make sure that we're not just releasing that without those players' knowledge as well. And the terms of use, and that has come up in some initial discussions from people. We do have a terms of use that we ask people to accept. We've gone to our legal folks to do this. Probably not a perfect, well, no, it's not a perfect terms of use, and there's others out there that people would like to see us develop. What we're going to be following, though, is what some of the other major leaders in this area, the other municipalities, what they're going to be using. We're going to follow along with what they're doing. So, open data can be freely used, reused and distributed by anyone, so it has to be complete. It has to be primary, so we don't want it to be aggregated data or filtered data. It must be timely, so we have to make sure it's being kept up to date. Data must be accessible, so We have, as you'll see here, a web catalog that allows people to access that. Machine processable, non-discriminatory. The formats have to be non-proprietary as much as we can. Sometimes we do provide some proprietary data sets up there. That's because that's what we're getting asked for as well. So we make that available if that's what's being asked for. And data must be license free. So some of the active municipalities in this area already, Eric tried to indicate that we're almost leading the way, but we're following. We're leaders in the Atlantic Canada, and but there's a lot of the big four: Vancouver, Edmonton, Toronto, and Ottawa have really been leading this initiative from early on. We're not too far behind, but we're certainly following on what they've been doing. And they're the ones. There's a community of those municipalities where they're getting together, just sharing ideas and that sort of stuff. Others, Nanaimo's been a big player in this, Windsor, and then of course ourselves. And there's a growing list of those communities that are looking at participating. So for Fredericton, if you haven't already stumbled upon it, as I said, we haven't officially announced it. This has been a soft launch, so we haven't done the communications behind this, but it is fully available. So under our city government page, and I think it's also discoverable under just a search for open data, at the bottom of the city government pillar here, you'll see open data. So if you go into there, the first thing that you're going to see when you come across this, as I mentioned, is this terms of use. It's not restrictive in any way. It's really just following on the terms of use that the other municipalities have also chosen to use. If it doesn't work for the community that's out there, we're certainly not averse to looking at this and changing it as well. But we're probably going to be following along with what the other municipalities are doing. So once you've accepted it, you come to the home page. You can get data catalog, frequently asked questions, glossary of terms, and contact us, how we've been reached already. And then right at the bottom there, goes right to the catalog, which is get the data. Also available in, I should say, also it's because we're under the same guidelines everybody here. It's available in English and French here. So the data catalog, this is really where the guts of it is. So it lists all of our data sets that we have. It's alphabetical. It gives a brief description, so a title for the data set, brief description. The formats that it's available in, as you can see here, these are some GIS or mapping related labels, also Google type formats. It's an open source format. Shape, though it's proprietary, it's actually also a open format by the industry folks. PDFs, CSV files. So if we give our address information out, and when I say address, it's not just an address, it's quite a bit of other information. But the address information for the entire city, so we do it in the format that some of our mapping people want to see, which is shape, but we also give it in a CSV file, so that really anybody can then take that and read it and bring it into the system. So when you click on one of those, it brings you to a more detailed page that really describes, it's the metadata about that information. So when it's current to the format of it, if it's mapping data, what the projection is, any attributes or comments that we may have about it, how to contact us, and then at the bottom there is where you actually get at the data. And it may be several sources there if it's in different formats. So you click on that and you open with your downloader. So you click on that and save it, open it, whatever. So right now what we have is 27 different data sets or web services available, and we're working on getting a lot more of those in there. Right now, there is a very heavy mapping slant to it because that's what our group had access to and what we can control. We are contacting the other departments within the city to get them also to participate. They've already been contacted at a high level by Maurice, and so there's buy-in already from them doing for us doing this. And so I think you're going to see a lot of these other data sets come along. And, but the feedback from the public will also help with what other ones. So the catalog is the primary focus of the open data. It lists the data that's offered, the information about it, as I said, where it's current to, the date, and we encourage the entrepreneurs out there to take this data and develop on it and come up with some cool stuff. So just some of the things that are already being out there, like Vancouver, an example is this Recollect, so it's a garbage collection app that's being developed out of some of the data that they've been offered, the Vancouver municipality has offered. And others have taken it and come up with these apps, such as Recollect, which it takes the garbage information. Kind of really interesting, it involves a calendar, so if you want to know when your pickup is, you can have it create a reminder for you. It shows you on a little Google map. So an interesting little application that's being developed out of it. Another one out of Vancouver, so your carts, street carts for food carts, so an app for your mobile device there, so street food in Vancouver. Again, taking information that the city offers and makes it available. Kind of an interesting one came up here too. Tim Hortons versus Toronto Public Libraries. And what it was is that a councillor came out with a statement saying that there's more public libraries in Toronto, and in particularly in his area, than there are Tim Hortons. Well, some interesting person went and took the data that Toronto had to offer and actually ended up telling the opposite side that there's a lot more Tim Hortons available than public libraries. So it's a kind of a fun one, but it's an interesting one, how people are using the information. So data integration, how to connect the data to related information. NIMO links their data through to Google Earth, Google Maps, and Bing Maps from a property query. We've also provided our information to Google, so we gave them our orthophotos. We gave them a project that we did along with the military here in Gagetown, the 3D buildings, and that's been on the news in the past, and you might have seen that as well. So we've given that to Google. Our transit data we've given to Google. We've given our orthophotos to Service New Brunswick, which then, again, re-offer that information back to the general user through their GeoNB portal. So we've already been participating in giving our data to other sources and getting integrated. Public participation. Some of the things that have been done, such as apps for Edmonton, prize, getting people to encourage people to out there develop these apps. So Edmonton's done it with apps for Edmonton, Ottawa's done it as well, and then NIMO's invited the public into building up their 3D models of the city and Google. So over 2 months they've had over 100 models in it. And then social networking. So how do we involve that in what we're doing here as well? And Toronto's really been sort of a real leader in that side of things, of their open data, and that there's already a public forum that's accessible off of the Toronto site. It's not run by Toronto, but it's the one where the community gets back, and they're the leaders of the forum, and they converse what is good, what's bad, what's needed, and Toronto's an invited player into that and can also respond and find out from the community what's needed and let them know, yes, it's a good idea, or we can do it, or we can't do it because of these reasons. So we're really in the early stages of using the social media tools as well with the city. Our recreation folks and our tourism folks are sort of leading the way for us in using them. But we're also going to be looking to use those tools, much as Toronto's done, for that two-way conversation with the people out there, find out what's needed by the public, but also to let them know, like say through tweeting or whatever, hey, there's this, if you signed up for it, this new data set's available, come get it or have a look at it, that sort of thing. So with that, I'm going to finish off and just say thank you, and if you want to contact me anything about it, it's just rob.dunn at Fredericton, or you can also get me through the open data. So if you go right to the site, there is the contact us, and that will reach us as well.